Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips is a fast food seafood restaurant and former chain that started in 1969. Thank you for your suggestion.
Okay, we'll trade. A piece of my chicken.
For a piece of my fish.
Look, Arthur Treacher's famous chicken and fish combo dinner. 2 pieces of batter-dipped breast of chicken, a generous piece of crispy fish, hush puppies, baked potato or chips, and Arthur Treacher's new fresh-cut coleslaw.
The potato topping bar.
Don't forget the free potato topping bar.
Right, and it's all at a special Arthur Treacher's combo dinner price of only $3.99.
We just love Arthur Treacher.
The fast food seafood restaurant company was started in Columbus, Ohio in 1969 as the National Fast Food Corporation. Its principal founders at the time included S. Robert Davis, his friend and future Wendy's founder Dave Thomas, and Ellis Hartzog, founder of Hart's Fried Chicken. They named the restaurant after Arthur Treacher. Treacher was a British actor who was often cast in manservant roles in films like Heidi, Mary Poppins, and Thank You, Jeeves. As the acting work dried up, he agreed to license his name to 2 different business ventures, the other a service-defined household help called Call Arthur Treacher Service System. Part of Treacher's deal with the fast food company required him to appear at restaurant openings, but he earned no money from the enterprise beyond his license fees. They opened its first restaurant in Columbus in 1969. The menu offered fried seafood or chicken, accompanied by chips, which were French fries, a British staple. The only thing that was truly British about Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips was its recipe for fried cod, which had been used by Mullins of London, which originated the idea of serving customers on the go with deep-fried fish and chips, soaking it in malt vinegar in the 1860s. The portion sizes were generous and the cost was low, making it a hit with low-income crowds that were tired of burgers and pizza. By the early 1970s, National Fast Food had become Orange Company. Under this name, Davis conducted an aggressive expansion campaign from 1972 through 1976. Lacking equity, he relied on generous sale-leaseback agreements. Under the terms of these agreements, Orange Company would sell to investor sites for new restaurants and then sign long leases unconditionally guaranteeing to continue lease payments if the restaurants failed. Under this aggressive expansion campaign, the Arthur Treacher chain grew. There were more than 800 stores, or about 826 locations to be exact, around the country. America for a short time embraced the comfort food of the UK. It wasn't just that people liked the taste of the company's seafood that made it so popular. Many celebrities of the day helped to sponsor or promote the restaurant throughout the country, such as Ed Sullivan and Bob Hope. In fact, the real Arthur Treacher, a famous actor in American and British cinema, also helped to promote the restaurant. Treacher was known for showing up to the restaurants in a double-decker bus, which helped to add to the authentic British feeling that the restaurant was going for. Then the Cod War happened. The so-called Cod War was a disagreement between Britain and Iceland over fishing rights in the North Atlantic, which heated up in the mid-1970s and led to sky-high prices for Icelandic cod. Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips had to raise their prices. The cod Arthur Treacher used in its recipes doubled in price as a result of the 1975-1976 Cod War between Iceland and Britain. As the United Kingdom could import large amounts of cod to the United States, and by extension places like Arthur Treacher's, the price of cod during this time became incredibly expensive. At the end of the dispute, British long-distance fishing had sufficiently ended, meaning that cod could no longer be imported as cheaply as it was before. On November 21, 1979, Orange Company sold Arthur Treacher's to Mrs. Paul's for $15 million. However, under the terms of its original sales leaseback agreements, Orange Company remained liable for millions of dollars of payments to investors. The skyrocketing price of cod caused it to respond by replacing the Icelandic cod in Arthur Treacher's recipe with less expensive pollock. The move exacerbated tensions with franchisees, some of whom had already withheld a total of $5 million in royalties for what they perceived to be steadily declining level of service, litigation arising from the conflict. After losing the case to the franchisees and having no way to compensate them, Mrs. Pauls sold Arthur Treacher's to Lamara Foods of America in March of 1982. Lumara Foods would file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection for reorganization 4 months later. To complicate things more, people's interest in fish and chips eventually waned, with consumers moving on to more elaborate, fancier items offered by more mainstream companies. The chain lost customers in droves as a result. Many of its locations were closed, and the company restructured and rebranded a few times. But the times had changed, and fish and chips were no longer an exotic dish, and a more health-conscious America moved away from deep-fried foods. They also competed with other restaurants such as Long John Silver's, Captain D's, Skipper's, and Alfie's Fish and Chips, who also employed the fish franchise concept as well. The company was subsequently bought by a group of investors, and the corporate offices were relocated to Youngstown, Ohio. It went into bankruptcy in 1983. In 1985, it was merged into a shell company by Jim Catalan, who, from 1985 to 1993, slowly expanded the company again. In 1993, money from a new group of investors were used to introduce a more modern seafood concept and to buy additional stores. The company experimented with co-branding, forming an alliance with Arby's, but that endeavor ended in the late 1990s. In 2002, the company holding the Arthur Treacher's trademark was acquired by Pat Franchise Systems. In 2006, Nathan's Famous bought the exclusive right to market the Arthur Treacher's trademark and sell their products co-branded with Nathan's own concepts, Kenny Rogers Roasters and Miami Subs. The Pat Franchise System still retained a license agreement entitling it to sell Arthur Treacher's fish and chip franchises in 8 states. A combination of changing tastes and geopolitical problems would cause the fall of one of the most unique restaurants in the fast food market. By 2010, there were only 27 restaurants left. By 2018, only 7 Arthur Treacher fish and chip restaurants remained. 3 in the metro New York City area and 4 in Northeast Ohio, where the chain was created. You could also find Arthur Treacher's fish and chip products at other restaurant chains, including Nathan's Famous, though. In 2021, Nathan's Famous announced plans to offer Arthur Treacher's branded food nationwide as a ghost kitchen concept, only available via food delivery systems. It would expand its menu to include not just its famous fish and chips, but other types of meat and seafood as well. Even after several attempts to maintain its position and revitalize itself, Arthur Treacher's collapsed, leaving only a few restaurants operational. The Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips on 1833 State Road in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, recently changed hands from longtime owner Ben Vittoria, who had retired, to developer George Simon. Simon bought the only other freestanding Arthur Treacher's restaurant in the country from Vittoria when he closed the Cleveland area location in 2021. After being impressed with a loyal customer following, Simon decided to reopen the Garfield Heights restaurant in February 2023 at 12585 Rockside Road. With just 2 Arthur Treacher's restaurants left in the country and both being located in Northeast Ohio and now both owned by Simon, there is hope for more locations to start opening up in the area. So what do you remember about this place? Leave a comment or a suggestion for a future video below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Bringing back memories from the good old days. That's super cool, man.